spiritual tools to make what? Positive changes in our lives. And our promise here at Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living is to reveal, inspire, uplift, celebrate, and magnify your greatness. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Coastal Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. In a similar fashion, we acknowledge how much of what we know in this country today, its culture, economic growth, and development through our history and across time, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their ascendants who suffered the horrors of transatlantic trafficking, chattel slavery, and Jim Crow. We also name the Asian and Chicano people who toiled with little recognition. We are indebted to all their labors and sacrifices, and we acknowledge the tremors that violence throughout the generations and the resulting impacts that can still be felt and witnessed today. Please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Ron and Carol Harris. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. And now we come to the time of the service where we get to engage in the spiritual practice of meditation. So I invite us to all become still. Notice the support of the ground upon which our feet rest. Notice the support of a chair for sitting. Notice that with each breath in, there is more than enough air to take in. Just be attentive. Put attention on the breath, the rise of the chest as we breathe in, and the fall of the chest as we breathe out. With each breath in, our body is prepared to engage in the world. And with each breath out, our body is better prepared to rest. So in the cycle of inhalation and exhalation, the body is primed for movement and then prepared for rest. We tend to think of rest as a particular time of the day or activity as a can set those expectations aside. We can take a moment to rest at any time during the day. We can activate ourselves at any time. How have we faced this day with particular expectations? What status quo have we locked ourselves into? With each breath in, allow ourselves to stretch beyond those old expectations. With each breath out, allow ourselves to put expectations to rest. We can always pick them up again at a later time. What expectations have we taken on that no longer work for us? What accusations of, you've always done it this way, we've always done it this way, have locked us in, have confined us, have set limits, what glass ceilings might we break through? Consider our world. And the unexpected elements in it. If we're in a home, what would it take to switch that picture with the other picture? To move where that plant sits. If we're in our work, and I mean work in the largest sense, the work of daily living. What schedule might we disrupt? Where might we insert a moment for laughter? A moment for stopping to observe beauty. A moment to welcome joy, peace, or surprise. With each breath in, activated body, we are prepared to act on that surprise or that joy or that beauty. And with each breath out, we can rest in that joy, that peace, that beauty. As the chest expands, we can consider that a metaphor for the expansion of our lives. Going beyond what has been expected of us, what we have expected of ourselves. And then we can rest on the breath out, on that expanded self, on that expansive being. And in that rest of that expanded being, just remember that the infinite divine is right there. Close as breath. Close as the awe and beauty, the delight of joy, the ease of peace. Allow ourselves to keep reconstructing our status quos. To let the expectations keep growing. Once again, in the awareness of the breath in, the breath out, take in the awareness of the ground beneath our feet. If we're sitting, take in the awareness of our seat. If we're standing, the awareness of our posture. And as you feel ready, open your eyes and return to the space where you are. Perhaps ready for new surprises, new sources of beauty, new sources of joy, new sources of peace. And I say, Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So we have our declaration.
It's coming.
We're going to do this 3 times. We are
An
expanding
and loving community, working in a field of infinite potential. We are an expanding and loving community, working in a field of infinite potential.
And finally,
We are an expanding and loving community, working in a field of infinite potential.
today's reading is very brief, and I've actually incorporated some of the ideas from the reading into this month's chant. And this is a slight adaptation. They drew a circle that shut me out. Heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I have the wit to win. We draw a circle that takes them in. And so it is.
So, yeah.
in the chant, that line, there's so much more in store, there's just so much in store. Because I couldn't make the music fit with the more. So even though you see it, cut it out. So what do I expect? How do I open to more? What do I respect? Why not learn to adore? What are my prospects? Won't I grow beyond my own core? There's so much in store. When anyone shuts me out as unworthy as someone to flout, love and I have the wit to win, drawing circles that take them in.
I wonder where that came from.
Pardon?
I wonder where that line came from.
I said.
Very good.
Sounds like plagiarism.
What do I expect? How do I open to more? What do I respect? Why not learn to adore? What are my prospects? Won't I grow beyond my core? There's so much more in store. When anyone shuts me out as unworthy of someone to flout, love and I have the wit to win, drawing circles that take them in. What do you expect? How do you open to more? What do you respect? Why not learn to adore? What are your prospects? Won't you grow beyond your own core? There's so much in store. When anyone shuts you out as unworthy of someone to flout, love and you have a wit to win, drawing circles that take them in. What do we expect? How do we open to more? What do we respect? Why not learn to adore? What are our prospects? Won't we grow beyond our own core? There's so much in store. When anyone shuts us out as unworthy of someone to flout, love and we have a wit to win, drawing circles that take them in. What do I expect? How do I open to more? What do I respect? Why not learn to adore? What are my prospects? Won't I grow beyond my own core? There's so much in store. When anyone shuts me out as unworthy of someone to flout, love and I have a wit to win, drawing circles that take them in.
Woo-hoo.
You have your turtle facing right.
Wow. I can't move. Good morning. We are in August already. I can't believe it. So now, well, with that note, we're going to have a song somewhere.
It's August month.
Let me know if you can't hear it online.
It was easy to blame you. My hatred was real. I just wanted you to have the pain that you made me feel. Then I found something I wanted even more. Peace of mind I had given to this war. Stepping back from my broken heart, I was amazed to see that just like me, you're seeking happiness, just like me. You don't want to cry. In your life there has been sadness. You have felt alone. You have no despair. Doubted that you've grown. You have dreams and needs. I can't see. How do I know these things? 'Cause you are just like me. Willing to let go, to live and let live. I turned you loose. Forget and forgive. I see the whole picture. What I ask for is clear. Forgive me for using you to stay in my fear. If you can't do this, you too might find places where we agree. 'Cause just like me, you're seeking happiness, just like me. You don't wanna cry. In your life there has been sadness. You have felt alone. You have no despair. Doubted that you've grown. You have dreams and needs. I can't see. How do I know these things? 'Cause you are just like me.
How many times have I made you wrong? Have I stewed in my sorrow, my anger, my longing for justice, reparation, healing, and peace, when the only thing missing for healing was me? I see you now clearly, your struggle, your shame, my sister and my brother, we're one and the same, pushing pain on each other till we wake up and see the beauty, the freedom of our unity.
How often we all forget to look for our common ground. When we can hold out, remember we're all here together.
trying to figure out songs for this month or this talk today was a tad bit challenging, but it gave me an opportunity to go through songs that were related to the idea that we are all connected here. That you are just like me. We have our differences, our difference of opinions, our different everything. However, our connection and our the divine love that lives within us is all the same. And so this month's theme is the unstatus quo. It's a little different. And the title today is the impacts of othering. Well, I kind of renamed it as us versus them. The monthly theme is like we have come to expect a status quo in our spiritual communities. We tend to know what to wear, who will we see, what the topics will be, when the music and treatment will happen, everything. When we only operate in the status quo, we miss so much of the beauty and growth that happens when we move outside of our normal and step into the beyond. I mean, when you come here today, you expect to see certain people. And like it says, you know, when you know everything, you know where it's going to go, bang, 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 bang. Maybe organized. I hope so. But there's so many things outside of that. There's so many things that we don't see because everything is so familiar, and when we don't see that's outside, then we are missing, like it says, we are missing a lot. And one of the definitions of othering is the act of treating some as though they are not part of a group and are different in some ways. How many times do we do that? I'd be lying full out if I said I don't do that. It's in some ways it's a natural thing for us humans. I don't know how animals do it. You know, do dogs do it? Do cats do it? Do they, say, oh, I'm a poodle, so I can't associate with that pug, whatever. I don't know. Othering is a process where a group of people is made to seem fundamentally different, even to the point of making the group seem less than human. And that is being done a lot today. I have to say it, I mean, it's a thing that in this political environment, that's a big thing that's happening today is belittling and it's sad. It makes me sad, it makes me angry that we have to get to that. That the only way you can win is by disgracing somebody else, by putting them down. It's a sad state that we're in. Some examples, I'm going to use a couple examples of when othering is being done is, someone said she was always an Indian, of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black? That's not raising somebody up. And then also there was a same person years ago mocked this disabled reporter. Mocking somebody, I'm going to say it's not good, but it's not. It's very demeaning. If someone has a disability, if someone's different than us, sometimes that's the way they were born. That does not make them less than. Not at all. sometimes it may make them more because they have to struggle more in some ways than we do. Yeah, and when Simone Biles dropped out of the Olympics in 2020, they got all over her. She had already won, I think, 2 medals, and they called her selfish and a failure because she didn't stay in and win more medals for the country. Now, who's being selfish there? Who's being not caring because she did it for her mental health? And how many times do we put our mental health or any kind of health on the back burner because we have to do this, this, and this. We have to succeed in this. Yet, by doing that, we injure ourselves one way or another. And look at her today. What she has done in this Olympics is unbelievable. I mean, I would love to be able to do 1/100th of what she can do. That would break my neck. Anyway, so when it says what is othering? I mean, othering is a social occurrence and a mental process in which individuals or groups are viewed, treated, and perceived as fundamentally different, separate, or alien from oneself or one's own group. So we have this little group here. If somebody was walking the door, I have the faith that we would welcome them no matter what. Because that's who we are. But on the outside, do we welcome people that may come into your life for, just a brief moment or something? I mean, the answer can be yes or no. For me anyway, because sometimes it's always, like she had said in the song, the fear. And the fear holds us back because of the unknown. The unknown is the scariest thing in the world. But in the other sense, the unknown is the most energizing. We did a helicopter ride again in Hawaii. And it was the first time for Lauren Vaughn's sister. And she was so nervous, so worried, and all. It was not funny because I knew where she was because I'd been like that before I went on the first ride. And so we told her to find something to hang on to. Because I've done that and other things. It's a grounding thing. You find something and hang on to it. And it does ground you. And I noticed, I could see her, and she was hanging on to that, but not after too long, she let go. Because the unknown can hold us in such fear that we can't see anything else beyond the fear. And that's with people, places, things, situations, all that. If we set them aside, if we push them out of our lives without even giving it a chance, we aren't growing, we aren't really living. It involves the creation of an us versus them, they say. The dichotomy establishing a sense of superiority or inferiority based on personal differences. So, I'm white, I think. I mean, I've always been that way. And if someone who is a different color walks in the door, I would like to think that I would welcome that. One reason, because we have several people of this congregation, of the center, that are quote-unquote different. And I love that. Because I learn things that I never knew. And how can you learn about others if you don't listen, if you don't open up to them? Listening, and allowing them to share, who they are, where they came from, what's going on with them. Like in Hawaii, it was we went to Luau and we learned all this, this history through dance of the Hawaiian Islands. So if you don't open up, you're not going to learn it. You're just going to sit there and be in a little box, and you're judging everyone, everything, without actually giving anybody a chance. The act of othering often stems from the human tendency to categorize. I know I never do that. I don't know if anybody else does. And try to make sense of the world. And try to separate. You need to be in that box, you need to be in that box, and the two boxes can't come together. It is a completely natural part of a human being, and therefore it is important not to make ourselves or other communities wrong for doing it, but rather recognize the impact. Reverend Vaughn talks a lot about intent and impact. Yes, our intention can be great, but if we don't do it in the right way, the impact is not going to be great. I think about that a lot when I do certain things I do. But rather recognize the impact that it has on our centers and activity work to counter our very human tendencies toward others and othering. What is the impact of othering? It's separation. It's us and them. It's, well, maybe bad or good. And why do we do othering? In addition to the human tendency to categorize and label our surroundings, othering also arises from a deeper psychological and social factors. It often serves as a defense mechanism to protect our own identity and maintain a sense of security. By receiving others as fundamentally different or alien, we reinforce our own group's superiority and distance ourselves from potential threats and challenges to our beliefs and values. I know one thing about myself, I don't do it near as much as I used to. And I didn't understand until I actually became aware of it, that I would be friends with somebody and it would get to a certain point and I would maybe sabotage the relationship or just step back and not, what's that called now, ghosting. Because they were getting too into me, knowing me too well. And I always believe, like that, I think that book says, would you like me, if you really knew me, would you still like me? And I had that feeling that deep down inside they wouldn't, that they would cast me aside. So what I would do, I would put up this nice little wall. I have lots of walls. And sometimes they have, they're spring-loaded. And I'm not aware of them. And that's how we block ourselves off from each other, from anyone that is different than I am, than we are. We like to think that we are in control of ourselves, our lives, and our surroundings. Especially a new thought, we are when we see the challenges that others have, it often results of something that is an inherent part of who they are, and it can be a scary experience. Because we don't know their, I guess I could say others' rituals, because we all have our rituals. You may call it something else. celebrates their holy days on Friday night and Saturday. Some churches have their, I forgot the name, they have their church service on Saturday. Some people are vegetarian. Some are vegan. Do you cast them out? Do you invite everybody over that eats like you do? Or like we have to, well, we wouldn't have to, we choose to have vegetarian food when the one daughter comes over. Because we want to share, the food with them, even though it's different. We're sharing the time together. Some of the other stuff is immaterial. But you're honoring, I think I try to honor their choice in life and they eat. And the same with religion. I grew up in the Lutheran faith, and what I got, they criticized all other religions. I always had to question, okay, if ours is the true religion, then what the hell are all these other religions? Why are they there? They're not needed, so why have them? And then when I came into religious science, the science of mind, the minister would say that you take what you need from these religions. And we do. We take and use parts that will work for us. And that's how you get a community too, is you have different people with different thoughts, differences. I mean, they're different. But if you bring them in and bring them together, that can make a beautiful field of flowers. I love hodgepodge. My first part where he said, some people like to plant, all your zinnias here, all your tulips here, all your roses here. But when you do everything, you kind of mix them together. You've got the different colors, the different heights, the different everything. It's beautiful. And that's just like life. We have all different colors and races and able people, disabled people. It all makes life. It all makes our life. It causes us to question our own control or lack of it. And the possibility of something happening that we don't want or like. So something might happen if we invite others in. And it could be something good. It could be something great. It could be something fantastic. At the heart, othering is rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of being wrong, fear of being out of control, and fear of those who are different from us. See, fear, I think in a lot of talks, fear comes up. Because fear is a great divider. It separates. We allow it to separate us from everyone else, us from certain situations, us from connecting with the divine. Groups that we seem to do a lot of othering, it's racial, ethnic, LGBTQ+, unhoused, or unsheltered. How many times do we see someone living on the street, and in our thoughts, maybe not in our words, we kind of condemn them, or we look away, we don't want anything to do with it. Then there's poverty. And one of the greatest ones is politics. Weight and religious differences. All these things, and there's a lot more that we separate from us, that we practice othering. Oneness as wholeness. Othering has widespread detrimental effects on individuals and centers. within the Science of Mind community. It perpetuates social divisions, discrimination, and marginalization. If you look around, you go to different centers, you can see the people that they draw. And they're different. Different from us, different from maybe the next center down the road. But that's who they draw. But if we did something different, could we draw more people that are different from us? One of my intentions for a center, for a gathering, for a group is to have as diverse as we can. Not only racially diverse, but economically diverse, capability or ability diverse, whatever you can think of. I think that would be so great, because the learning that you can do from each other is the beauty of life. It can lead to prejudice, bias, and exclusion, limiting empathy and understanding between diverse groups. All these things like empathy. Do we have empathy only for ourselves and for our group? Or does empathy go out for others? And even more dangerous, our teachings of oneness can serve as an echo chamber, allowing us to hide behind teachings of love and light, while continuing to ignore and even perpetuate systems of inequality, oppression that harm individuals who may be different from us. Do we do that? Do we in our center perpetuate that separation? That othering? It's a good thing to ponder. Overcoming othering requires conscious awareness, empathy, and the willingness to challenge and question our own biases and assumptions. That's a big thing. To look inward, and to be honest. I know sometimes honesty can hurt, because sometimes things will come up that you aren't aware of, or that how you were raised through your life. You've always done it this way, and it's time to change. Time to use that empathy and conscious awareness, and to challenge those beliefs that we have. We're not we should not beat ourselves up for any of this. It's just to become aware of it happening in our lives, in our centers, in all your groups or whatever, and be aware of it, be conscious of it. And then make the change. Do something about it. Like in AA, the first thing is admitting that there's a problem, admitting that there's a bias, or that there's an assumption. It involves recognizing the shared humanity and the interconnectedness among all individuals. Like I said earlier, we are all connected. We're all connected by that, the way I look at it, that divine love that we are expressing, that it is expressing in, around, and through, and as us, each and every day. We are the divine love. And so if we are it, so is the other person. That divine love that connects us all. Regardless of their differences, we need to be aware of that interconnectedness. Promoting inclusivity, diversity, and a teaching of oneness that is based on the idea of wholeness. whole and complete just as they are. So many times we want to change people too, you know? And the only person you can change is when you look in the mirror at that person. One of my favorite songs by Michael Jackson is The Man in the Mirror. That's where you have to go first. You have to go to you before anything else can be done. All experiences are divine aspects of the divine, not just the ones we label as good. This is good, that's not so good or bad or whatever. So we only take the good. It is essential in countering the harm effects of evil. Othering is, not can be, but is harmful. Just like I don't like the, I was going to say I hate the word hate. I don't like to use the word hate. Not when it's related to a person or a living thing. To me, that's a strong, powerful word. And I don't like to think that I can hate anything or anyone. But sometimes that little really dislike comes up, you know, I mean, it's in all of us. Ernest Holmes reminds us that in mind, there is no time, no space, no place. There is only wholeness, oneness, and eternity. So a few quotes here. This is by Ernest Holmes from Science Line magazine in 2002. While all people have the same origin, no two are alike, except in the ultimate essence. A person is an individualized center of God consciousness and spiritual power, as complete as they know themselves to be. And they know themselves only as they comprehend the relationship to the whole. So we all have different, we come from the same origin, but we're all different. I mean, even identical twins have some difference. I don't know, I've never been one, so I can't attest to that. But we have to be in a relationship with the divine and know that we are in a relationship with others. Each person is the center of self-conscious life. God is the life principle animating, while this life principle is forever hidden from our objective view. We are continuously conscious of its existence in us, in animating all nature. The relationship between the life principle and that which is sustained is self-evidently one of unity. The highest perception of humankind has been our sense of this inner oneness with the Spirit. This is when we go in and we check our biases and beliefs. You have to get over the fear of facing the worst in yourself. You should instead fear unexamined racism. Fear the thought that right now you could be contributing to the oppression of others and you don't know it. But do not fear those who bring the oppression to light. Do not fear the opportunity to do better. I like this because it goes along with actually going in, seeking out, and looking at our inwards, you know? Looking at them with honesty forward and not backward. So, in our spiritual communities, we express ideals of oneness, of radical welcoming and inclusion. However, we often allow our unconscious bias, inclination towards othering, and subconscious fear to dictate our actions. To truly overcome this inherent human tendency, it is crucial that we go beyond mere spiritual practice and take proactive steps towards self-reflection and community examination. There's that self-reflection. Do we know ourselves? Do you know yourself? I don't know if I'll ever know my own self. I definitely think it's a work in progress. For one reason, the idea that we change each and every day. And actually, we change each and every moment. Because an incident can happen that could change your life entirely, just in a split second. We must explore what lies beneath our resistance to personal growth, communal change, and natural evolution. Achieving spiritual beings, as spiritual beings, we are called to shed light on all aspects of our human experience. So look at your life. Like in Alcoholics Anonymous, there's the fourth and fifth step, or where you write, basically everything you've done in your life. You do spiritual and moral inventory. And it took me a while to do mine. And if you can be honest, and then you basically somehow, another step, you let it go. And it's so, it releases the bonds that hold you sometimes. It releases that weight that hangs around you. To accomplish this, we must be willing to be honest, to honestly examine ourselves, our beliefs, and our community. We must identify and challenge our unconscious biases and fears that hinder our progress toward true oneness, opening the door to personal and collective transformation and allowing us to embody the principles we espouse. Transcending othering requires more than just theoretical discussions of science and that principles. It demands a commitment to action, self-reflection, and collective introspection, going inside as individuals and as a group. There's a question: have you ever felt being othered? Have you ever felt that you were being excluded because of something about you? And if so, how did you react to that situation? It can be painful. I felt it a couple times, 3 times, I don't know how many times, but I think the one part is it's painful in a lot of different ways. And so if you feel that pain, don't others? So this week, maybe take this question, and when something pops up, because it will, I know I find that, I say to myself, I can't think of it right now, and then you're doing something, you might be watering the yard, or this or that, and all of a sudden this thing pops in your head. Write it down, and then write what feelings you got from that. Now I do have a little affirmation here. And we will say this times.
I step into action to create an inclusive world. I step into action to create an inclusive world. I step into action to create an inclusive world.
And so it is. Now you have one more. Well, before the song, I just want to be in gratitude for a moment. In gratitude for this center, for this combined group of individuals that come together, whether it's every Sunday, whether it's in person, whether it's on Zoom. I'm grateful for each of you. And for those that aren't here today, those that will be here tomorrow or next week. Because we have built a community, no matter how large or how small, of individuals that I pray are welcoming, opening, and working on releasing and dismantling the other. Knowing that each individual in this world has something, it may be the minutest thing that they have to offer, but there is something good in each and every one. It is hard sometimes to try to accept that. But I believe that there is good in all. And so I give thanks for each and every person here. I give thanks for each and every person that has ever been or connected to Northern Light Center for Spiritual Living. For you make it what it is. And I'm grateful for the sacred ground that we have, that we stand in, that we have created with our consciousness, with our presence. So I let it go and let it be. So it is. I think most of you will recognize this.